Hi everybody, this is Sarah with your card reading for the year of 2021. And so this is my first recorded card reading, like yearly card reading. Last year I did one for myself for the year, and it was the Hermit card, the card of going home, going inside, doing the deep work and the deep healing, deciding what you really want and moving on that path. And boy, that could not have been more accurate. I mean, getting the going home card in 2020, definitely never saw it playing out the way it did, but I'm grateful for the lessons I got. I'm grateful for the healing I got. It was a tough year, tough, tough, tough. And I don't think there's a person alive who didn't have a tough year in 2020, but we've made it through and we're on the other side, and it's going to be different in 2021. And so doesn't mean like problem's over, everything's done, but it is going to be different for us. And I'm kind of excited about the card I drew for this. And it's not one I really thought of, but when after I drew it a few minutes ago and I gave it some thought, I'm like, oh, I think I've been getting clues that this is going to be the flavor for 2021. And I'm actually really happy about it. And so the card is the Six of Cups. And so that is the card of, the card before it is the Five of Cups, which is like regret and disappointment, pessimism and failure, and just kind of like one of the worst cards in the deck, And so this is like after all the difficulty. It's like a fresh start after the difficulty. It can be a card of fun, renewed harmony and healing in relationships and just different parts of our life. I just feel like whenever we're able to kind of get back to normal life again, it will never be normal in the way it was before 2020. Everything's different now. It's just different. Like, we've been through it. We've done so much. Everything's happened. It's never going to go back to the way it was. But as we rejoin life again in the new way, we do get a fresh start. And also, the fact that it's the Six of Cups has a sense of nostalgia to it too. So like, we may be going back to, family dinners that we had before, like maybe they were just normal, something you did on Sunday nights or whatever, and kind of took it for granted. But then when we can start doing it again, we realize like what an incredible gift this is and like how great it is. When we kind of go back into life, we just like aren't going to be taking things for granted, and we're going to be able to like appreciate the good things we had. And the stuff that wasn't working for us, a lot of us were able to shed a lot of those things and make some changes in our lives. So when we go back, we're just kind of in a better footing and in a better place and just in more harmony with our inner life and what we really need and our passions and strengths and life purposes. Also, there's a lot in this Six of Cups that has to do with the child, the inner child, healing, wisdom of children. I think we're still going to be seeing a lot of social changes, possibly unrest and things like that too, to be able to kind of shake up systems that are harmful and hurting. And when I think of it in the Six of Cups ways, I think of the wisdom of children. Kids just don't have the filters and things that we have. And in some ways, when you're an adult, like when you see a kid saying like, oh, well, that's not fair, like so-and-so has so much more than I do, and that's not fair. And like, as an adult, we're like, well, yeah, get used to it, life's not fair or whatever. But like, in terms of like the social changes we're going through, dismantling racism, dismantling patriarchy, dismantling all these unbalanced systems, our government, just with the financial discrepancies and like the rich and the poor and all of that, like the wisdom of the child would say like, that's not fair. Why is someone like treated differently because of the color of their skin? That's not fair. How come someone has so much more money than someone else? That's not fair. And I feel like we're at a time where instead of going, yep, life's not fair, you don't understand how it works, you don't know, you're just a kid, I feel like we're at a time where we're going to go, yeah, actually, that's not fair. And yeah, that's really not fair. So what can we do about that? And so I feel like there might be a lot of insights this year around that kind of childlike wisdom, just stepping back and saying, wow, we need to return to love. We need to return to joy. We need to return to fun. We need to return to our soul's purpose. We need to throw off the things that are weighing us down and that are holding us down, and our false beliefs and our damaging beliefs, and make changes. And I feel like we can do that in 2021. I do. I don't think the shakeups of 2020 are done all the way. I think we definitely have a lot of social changes that are going to happen around all of that stuff. But I don't feel necessarily the feeling like that Tower card feeling, like how 2020 sort of felt like the Tower card and the Death card, which was just like, and even the Devil card, where like we saw the things we were doing wrong. We saw our social ills. We saw what needed to be changed and what wasn't working and what wasn't okay. And we just dismantled, and everything fell apart, and everything stopped, and everything ground to a halt. And then we had to do the work to just kind of like tear it apart so that we could build something beautiful from it, in time. And, as we heal and as we do better, this doesn't feel like that. This feels like starting the process of getting back to basic humanity and human rights, and just like treating each other with love and with respect, and back to our spiritual roots, whatever those are. And just we may have, I don't know, I just feel like, I used to be really religious, and I've thrown away that religion now. But like, there are things that I miss, or things that I value, that I can take with me away from that religion. And I feel like a lot of us might be having those things where we are going to return to some maybe bits and pieces of spiritual roots that we enjoyed, that we would like to incorporate into our new lives. I just feel like it's a time where we're looking forward by looking backwards, in a way, like back in simpler times, or back when we had what we need, or back before we had all this trauma. What did we really want? And then that informs what we want now. Like, we're still the same person. We still want what we wanted. We still want fairness. We still want to express ourselves creatively. We still want to love. We still want all of that stuff. And so our society needs, it starts in here. So we need to move towards those things. But then I feel like our society is going to need to move towards those things too. I feel like this 2021 is going to be a big year again. I don't think in the way that 2020 was, but also a really revolutionary and transformative year, where we get back to the realness of life, to the real things, like love, and like justice, and like fairness, and like helping people have the basic things that they need, and each individual following their own path. And so I definitely expect big things from 2020 or 2021. One thing I like about this card too is, if you look at the art in it, it's like two children and they're smelling these pretty flowers. There is a lot of fun in the Six of Cups. There's a lot of play, there's a lot of pleasure, there's a lot of joy. I definitely see that happening in 2021 too, especially when we are finally allowed to be free and like go out with less danger and all of that stuff. And just like the joy of just like going outside and just smelling the air. No more masks, just like smelling the air. And it's going to be so delicious and wonderful. And just like so many of those things, like the horse being set out to pasture, or the lamb being set out to pasture, I guess is what it is. But just joyfully bounding forward and finding fun and finding pleasure and just like releasing and being alive. And we have a lot to clear from 2020. There were many tragedies, there were many traumas, there were many difficulties, and no person got out unscathed, not one person. And so as we go into 2021, make sure you do the work to process and to heal the wounds that came from living through such a difficult year. And just whatever way works best for you, to just kind of like process, clear, and let go and be ready to move forward. We need to acknowledge the difficulty that was last year. We need to acknowledge what it did to us individually and just kind of clear that and move forward. And then that we get to actually start enjoying the fruits of the labors of this year, of all the hard work we did, of all the pivoting we did, of all the changing we did, of all the adapting we did, of all the hard work we did. We actually get to start enjoying the fruits of that and just enjoying being more centered and grounded in ourselves and just move forward with our lives. And so I think that this year is going to be a complicated year because we're not out of the woods with the troubles yet. We're not out of the woods with all the difficulty, but the feeling of it changes and the focus of it changes. And there's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of delight, and there's a lot of pleasure, and there's a lot of setting things right and connecting to the good parts of our past and healing any of the negative stuff. But this is even more about just like connecting to the good stuff and just coming at it in a fresh new way that you never have before. That's just a lot more aligned with you. So well done for your hard work in 2020. Well done for making it through it. Well done for loving yourself, loving your neighbors, loving your family through it. Well done. We all got through it. And now it's time for breathing, healing, releasing, and having a better year. You take care.